I think the question about brands and consumer behavior is a really complex question. And I'll give you an example. Buffett and Munger, they bought a company called Kraft Heinz. And Heinz used to be by itself, it bought Kraft cheese and it became one company. On the Heinz side of the house, they have ketchup and they have the ability to raise prices much more than on the cheese side. So on the cheese side, even a tiny amount of price increase and consumers switch to another brand. So people don't seem to care which cheese they're buying, but they seem to care a lot about which sauce they're buying. So the ketchup, the humans have some kind of taste memory or taste history where they are particular about the kind of ketchup. And they're not so particular about the kind of cheese, right? And so in the same company, they're facing this issue. And so this notion of this consumer behavior and brands is really, really complicated. And the devil is in the details. And so when Buffett and Munger bought See's Candy, they saw this 10% price increase was going on. And they loved that. That was just awesome, right? And See's is very much a California phenomena. It's very popular in California. They would open a store in Arizona, it would fail. They'd open a store in Chicago, it would fail. They tried 100 things all over the world. There's even a store now in Dubai, for example. And they've had a lot of difficulty with the growth of Seas outside of California. And it's box chocolate. Box chocolate is not a growth category. So it was actually, it's not only the box chocolate, it's box chocolate with dedicated retail. They have their own See's candy stores, right? Which again is another weird thing, So for whatever reason, that equation worked in California. And it's worked over 50, 60 years that they've owned it. People have changed, everything has changed, technology has changed, but the candy is still going. When they encountered Coke, it blew them away. One of the big reasons it blew them away is because Coke travels so well. Coke travels easily to any part of the world. You can put up a Coke factory anywhere in the world, start producing it, and instantly there's demand, right? I mean, that brand has magical power. So they looked at Seas, they looked at how powerful it was, but they couldn't grow it. Then they looked at Coke and they said, this is Seas on steroids, right? And so then when they looked at Coke and they saw how powerful it was, they went all in, right? And so these insights about, brands traveling, not traveling, Coke, one of the things about different between Coke and candy is there's no aftertaste with Coke. What that means is that you can consume a huge amount of Coke, but candy has an aftertaste. We will start hitting kind of upper limits relatively soon with candy that we won't hit with Coke. And person can easily have 5 Cokes a day or 5 Diet Cokes a day. They wouldn't see anything unusual about that. But what I've been able to glean is I don't consider brands and consumer behavior my forte. I think it's a very complicated area that seeing is believing. I don't know whether there are rules that go across, like you see that Seas doesn't travel and Coke's travels, and you cannot raise the price of Kraft cheese and you can raise the price of ketchup. I mean, those are things I would never be able to forecast, right? So basically, if you are able to forecast those things, you can have some major home runs. But it's not that easy. But I think that there are a lot of rewards if you can figure it out.